Boom! Chicka-chicka. This is board number 2 from Model 2. This is the one that has pretty extreme damage, so we're going to go ahead and get this one recapped. It'll be a bit more difficult because in addition to the cracking on the board, we've also got the trace repair on the back, which goes everywhere. And unfortunately they're all pretty thick traces, so I think this wire is going to be the best. If only it didn't get so snapped up in transit. Yeah, so we're going to try replacing those capacitors, and hopefully I'll remember where everything went, like this black thing that just fell off. This one has a slightly different heatsink design. I'm still in the market for some new heatsinks to fit well in this. I mean, that's not a bad shape, I suppose, as long as it fits, and it would have more heat dissipation than the other one, which is just a simple little bit of metal. But if I can keep the voltages relatively close to 8 volt coming into this, there shouldn't be that much heat generated. The heat is only really generated when there's way too much excess voltage. So if I'm feeding in, say, 100 volts, well, apart from everything exploding, explosions, this would get very hot, resulting in explosions. I guess that's relevant. I think they're rated to about 24 volt or 30, or was it 40? It was somewhere around there. Anyway, different models you can get these 7/8 series chips. So let's get on to this one. So this is revision 2 of the Aiwa Mega CD. It begins. Looks like someone got a little too excited with their new hot glue gun. The capacitor, the legs, go into those 2 tubes there to reach the thing on the board about there. So I'm going to try and get rid of that hot glue because it doesn't seem to be there for any reason, apart from getting in the way. Look at what they've done with technology though. These are the capacitors I removed. Last time I used Nichicon to replace these with. Only 2 Nichicons on the board, and they were those ones, which sit on either side of this microchip here, the heatsink. And now I've got this. These are Rubicons. They're about tiny. Quite a long life as well, apparently, so they should be well worth it, especially in such close proximity to heatsinks. So let's get rid of that hot glue. Resistor 51 is trapped in the blob. There's only one way to get him out. Desoldering gun. Let's save him. It also looks like that they were anticipating using a much smaller capacitor. The radius of the capacitor, or the diameter, is extremely small compared to the other one. So hopefully it'll still fit. There's a fair bit of room around the thing. I don't know why they didn't. Anyway, why would they make a revision 2 board and do that? It's just a mess. I've just discovered another difference between the 01 and 02 revisions. That capacitor that was on an angle, like so, is actually 4700 microfarads versus the 3300 that they'd all been previously. So I'm going to have to go through the board and have a look at each individual capacitor. Since I've discovered a difference this early on. Hopefully most of them are the same. I'm going to need to order a 4700 now, which isn't a bad thing. So I need to put in another order anyway. But looks like this project will not be completed this weekend or anytime soon. I'm doing this one stage by stage because there's just so many wires connecting everywhere. So they're going in nicely. I've actually grown attached to the underdogs, I suppose. These little ones here, can you see them? They're very small. They're Rubicon half-size miniature caps. Their lifetime's better than the full-size ones I used on the other board, so I might as well use them. Plus they're so small. Just look at how small that is. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we're progressing along. We've done the 470s are on board there, 220s, not that one. That's a 100, so I've got a few 100s to do. There's the other 220 up there, which was a 47 on the other board thanks to the wrong shipment. There's 2 more 470s in the middle of the board there. And then we'll do this bit over here. This bit will be relatively easy because there's no damage to the underside of the board. This side, however, is a bit of a mess. So I've only melted through two plastic covers so far, so we're doing pretty good. And we're done, except I'm missing a 7806. The other ones I've got are 7906s, which are negative voltage, which is of no use in that spot there. Gonna have to replace that one at a later date, the 4700 microfarad. But all the others are done. I'm going to go through, triple check the traces on the back of the board. We had that capacitor there loosen off the board a little bit on the other side on the solder pad, but it joined up pretty well, so that should be okay. Got some more micro ones over here. We've got the 10 volt one, which I need to change there, the blue one. So I'll get onto that when I get a chance. Everything else went in okay. I've got a whole bunch of these little micro ones. Let's get into focus. Look at them. They're tiny. Oh, one thing I did notice though is that the these film capacitors here, the larger ones, cracking around the top. I don't know if that's normal, but I'm going to say it's not. It's difficult to see, but it's there. Anyway, let's see if we can give this a test once I find that L7887 voltage regulator. You know what it is. 7806. We're all good. I managed to find it. It was hidden on a shelf out of sight. So with that in, we're ready to give it a test. Let's get to it. Holy dooly, have I made a mess. Well, this is the board with dead A1296 transistor, which is about there. As I was having a poke around on this board, I've accidentally snapped off this guy, who was put on pretty badly. That leg's missing a bit of shielding, insulation. It actually connects on to that leg there. And I've had a look on the other side. It's an N38F. No, N38C on the other side. This one's an N38F. They're fuses from what I can tell. They're just fuses. So the original revision didn't have this. So I'm guessing a few fires might have started in people's houses. Yeah. Makes you feel safe, especially the way the fuse is soldered on there so bodgily. So it's obviously added on. On the original one, I can see there's a ceramic capacitor in place of the fuse, so an improvement perhaps, but at least we know what that component is on the back and why there was a revision 2. And there was one different size capacitor. So far not many differences, but they made them for a reason, I suppose. Let's see if I can get that soldered back on. No, upon closer inspection the ceramic capacitor is still there. I don't know if you can see it there, but there's the marking there. So that, if you measure off those two there, junk in the middle. This board, trying to find where we're at. Where am I looking? Up here. So there's one and there's two. It's the ceramic cap. That is the electrolytic. But there's nothing in here. Whereas over here, ceramic, electrolytic, all this mess. in the middle. So there you go. Looks like fun.